Book 3. Alexandria, also called Paris, challenges Menelaus, Helen, and Priam view Athens from the wall. The covenant, Paris and Menelaus fight, and Paris is worsted. Aphrodite carries him off to save him, scene between him and Helen. When the companies were thus arrayed, each under its own captain, the Trojans advanced as a flight of wild fowl or cranes that screamed overhead when rain and winter drive them over the flowing waters of Oceanus, to bring death and destruction to the Pygmies, and they wrangle in the air as they fly, but the Athenians marched silently in a high heart, and minded to stand by one another, as when the south wind spreads a curtain of mist upon the mountain tops, bad for shepherds, but better than night for thieves, and a man can see no further than he can throw a stone. Even so rose the dust from under their feet, as they made all speed over the plain. When they were close up with one another, Paris came forward as champion on the Trojan side. On his shoulders he bore the skin of a panther, his bow and his sword, and he brandished two spears shod with bronze as a challenge to the bravest of the Athenians to meet him in single fight. Menelaus saw him thus stride out before the ranks, and was glad as hungry lion that lights on carcass of some goat or horned stag, and devours it there and then. Though dogs and youths set upon him, even thus was Menelaus glad when his eyes got sight of Paris, for he deemed that now he should be revenged. He sprang therefore from his chariot clad in his suit of armor. Paris quality as he saw Menelaus come forward, and shrank in fear of his life under cover of his men, as one who starts back affrighted, trembling and pale, when he comes suddenly upon a serpent in some mountain glade. Even so did Paris plunge into the throng of Trojan warriors, terror-stricken at the sight of the son of Atreus. Then Hector upbraided him. Paris, said he, evil-hearted Paris, fair to see, but woman mad and false of tongue, would that you had never been born, or that you had died unwed. Better so than live to be disgraced and look askance as, will not that Athenians mock at us while they say we have sent one to champion us who is fair, deceive who has neither wit nor courage? Did you not, such as you are, get your following together and sail beyond the seas? Did you not, from a far country, carry off a lovely woman wedded among a people of warriors, to bring sorrow upon your father, your city, your whole country, but to duel your enemies, and hang dog shamefacedness to yourself? And now can you dare face Menelaus, and learn what manner of man he is, whose wife you have stolen? Where indeed would be your leer, and your love tricks, and your comely walks, and your fair favor? When you were lying in dust before him, the Trojans are a weak-kneed people, but ere this you would have a church of stones for the wrongs you have done them. And Paris answered, Hector, your rebuke is just. You are hard as the axe which a shipwright wields at his work, and cleaves the timber to his liking. As the axe is in hand, so keen is the edge of your sword. Still taunts me not with the gifts of that boy Aphrodite has given me. They are precious, let not a man disdain them, for the gods give them if they were minded, and none can have for asking. If you would have do battle with Menelaus, did the Trojans and Athenians take their seats while he and I fight in the midst of Helen for all her love? Let him shall be victorious to be proved, and better man take woman as he shall have, to bear him then their home. The less abreast swear to solemn covenant of peace, whereby you Trojans shall stay here in Troy, while the others go home to Argos and land of Athenians. When Hector heard this, he was glad, and went about among the Trojan ranks, holding his spear by middle to keep them back, and they all sat down at his bidding. But the Athenians still aimed at him with stones and arrows, until Agamemnon shouted to them, saying, Hold our guys, shoot not sons of Athenians, Hector desires to speak. They ceased to take aim, and were still, whereon Hector spoke, Hear from my mouth, said he, Trojans and Athenians, and sang with Paris, through whom the quarrel has come about. He bids the Trojans and Athenians lay their armor upon the ground, while he and Menelaus fight in the midst of you for Helen and all her wealth. Let him who shall be victorious and prove to be better than take the woman and all she has, to bear them to own home, but let the rest swear to a solemn covenant of a peace. Thus he spoke, and they shall hold their peace. So Menelaus with a loud battle cry addressed them, and now he said, Hear me too, for it is I am the most aggrieved. I deem the parting of the Athenians and Trojans is at hand as well it may be, seeing how much I suffered for quarrel with Paris, and wrong that he did to me. Let him who shall die, die, and let the others fight no more. Bring them 2 lambs, a white ram and a black ewe for earth and sun, and we will bring forth the herb of Zeus. Moreover, you shall bid Priam come, that he may swear to covenant himself, for his sons are high-handed and ill to trust, and the oaths of Zeus must not be transgressed or taken in vain. Young men's minds are light as air, but when an old man comes, he looks before and after, deeming that which shall be fairest upon both sides. The Trojans and Athenians were glad when they heard this, for they thought that they should now have rest. They beckoned to their chariots towards the ranks, got after them, and put on their armor, laying it down upon the ground, and the hosts were now near to them, another with a little space between them. Hector sent 2 messengers to the city to bring the lambs, and to bid Priam come, and Agamemnon and Telepius to fetch the other lamb from the ships, as Agamemnon had said. Meanwhile Iris went to Helen in the form of sister-in-law, wife of the son of Anastor, for Heliacon, son of Anastor, had married Laodice, the fairest of Priam's daughters. She found in her own room, working as a grey web of purple linen, on which she had embroidered the battles between Trojans and Athenians, that Ares had made them fight for her sake. Iris then came close up to her, and said, Come hither, child, and see the strange doings of the Trojans and Athenians. So now they have been warring upon the plain, mad lust of battle, but now they have left off fighting, and are leaning upon their shields, sitting still with their spears planted beside them. Paris and Menelaus are going to fight about yourself, and you are to be the wife of him who is the victor. Thus spoke the goddess in Helen's heart, here and after the former husband, her city and her parents. She threw a white mantle over her head, and hurried from her room. Weeping up went not alone, but attended by 2 of her handmaids, Atherat, daughter of Pythias, and Cleomene, and straightway they were at Scaean gates. The 2 sages, Ulyddon and Anastor, elders of the people, were seated by the Scaean gates, but Priam, Pantheos, Theomotes, Lampus, and Sisypheus, and Hiccaton of the race of Ares. These were too old to fight, but they were fluent orators, and sat at the tower like cicadas that chirrup delicately from the boughs of the high tree in a wood. When they saw Helen come together to the tower, they softly said to one another, Small wonder that the Trojans and Athenians should endure so much and so long for the sake of a woman so marvelous and divinely lovely, still fair though she be. Let them take her and go, or she will bear sorrow for us and for our children after us. But Priam bade her draw nigh. My child, said he, take your seat in front of me, that you may see your former husband, your kinsmen, and all your friends. I lay no blame upon you, it is the gods, not you, who are to blame. It is they who have brought about this terrible war. The Athenians tell me then who is younger, he she rose so great and goodly. I have seen men taller by a head, but none so comely and so royal. Surely he must be a king. Sir, answered Helen, father of my husband, dear and reverend in my eyes, would that I had chosen death rather than come here with my my dear son, for from my bridal chamber you my friends, my darling daughter, and all my companions of my girlhood, but it was not to be to, and my lot is one of tears and sorrows. For as you question the hero of whom you ask is Agamemnon, son of Atreus, a good king and brave soldier, brother-in-law, as surely as that he lives, if he had poor and miserable self. The old man marveled at him and said, happy son of Atreus, child of good fortune, I see that the Achaeans are subject to you in great multitudes. When I was in Tyria, I saw some horsemen of the people of Otris and of Magedon, who were camping on the banks of Sagarius. I was there allying with them with the Amazon spears of men came up against them, but even as there are so many as the Achaeans, the old man next looked upon Odysseus. Tell me, he said, who is that shorter other head of Agamemnon, but broader across the chest and shoulders? His armor is laid upon the ground, and he stalks in front of the ranks as if some greatly woolly ram ordering his ewes. And Helen answered, he is Odysseus, a man of great craft, a son of Leotres, who is born in rugged Ithaca, and excels in manner, stratagems, and subtle cunning. On this Anantor said, Madam, you have spoken truly. Odysseus once came here as an envoy about yourself, and Menelaus with him. I received them in my own house, and therefore know both of them by sight and conversation. When they stood up in presence in the assembly of the Trojans, Menelaus was a broader shouldered, but when they were both seated, Odysseus had the more royal presence. After a time they delivered their message, and the speech of Menelaus rang tremblingly on the tongue. He did not say much, for he was a man of few words, but he spoke very clearly to the point. Though he was the younger man of the two, Odysseus, on the other hand, when he rose to speak, was at the first silent and kept his eyes fixed upon the ground. There was no plain or graceful movement of his spectre, but he kept it straight like a stiff man, and unlike his oratory. One might have taken him for a mere churl or simpleton, but when